Look at you all. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Good morning. Welcome to the best service ever. How are we doing? Right? Bring it. Thank you. Well, I'm very excited that you're here because we're discussing something that is in my life happening right now. And it is called change. And interesting, I laugh at the divine because she has a great sense of humor. And a year ago, I planned these monthly themes. And I planned this theme to be embracing change. Now, I didn't really know at that time, I mean, I knew, but I didn't really know that we were going to have our very first practitioner installed for Center for Spiritual Living Peninsula. And so at that time, I didn't know that was coming. I had an inkling, but I didn't know for sure. I didn't know it was going to be this month. But I also didn't know that our beloved Reverend Divine was going to be getting a new job, becoming assistant minister, and flying away to New Jersey. Yeah. So there's a lot of change that's going on, and it's going on within me. And sometimes, I don't know about you, but I have this thing where I try to avoid it, like you can avoid change, right? Oh, let me try and cling on to it, or try and hold on to it, or hold on to what I have in order to really understand and feel like I have stability. But there is no stability in life. Well, the true stability is that change is the inevitable. So recognizing that that's the one constant, that the change is the one constant, that if you are changing, if I am changing, then I am stepping into the stability of life. I'm grasping on to that flow of life. Now, it's easy to say that, but then when you have, like me, a month ago, I had a rat in my garage. I did. I had a rat. I saw the rat, and I'm a big animal lover, so I thought it was a mouse. It was kind of out of the corner of my eye, and apparently it was like a baby rat, and I saw it in my garage, and so I bought some kind mouse traps for it, so that you can catch it and then let it go. Well, of course, the rat is too big for the humane mouse traps, and lo and behold, there are no, maybe there are some humane rat traps, but they're not anywhere at any pet store or any hardware store around here, just so you know. So I had to call the exterminator we're renting, and we called the landlord, and the landlord called in the exterminator, and the rat kindly popped both the traps without getting caught in it. And that was a while ago, and then I was like, oh well, didn't catch the rat. And then I ignored the problem. Have you ever ignored a problem before? Does it ever get bigger? Or multiply? Abundantly. Yeah. So that happened to me, and the rat became many rats and lived under my house. They were in my house, but they were under my house and in my garage, ripping everything apart in my garage. And of course, what did I do? Nothing. That really worked for me. I just want you to know. So I don't know if you're examining a problem and not doing anything on it, but something is going to happen that's going to cause a shift and a change in order for you to take action. Because you got to take action. Our nature is to embrace a change and to take action. And so I did need to take action and called back the exterminator, and they boarded up all the little holes all around the house and either boarded them in or boarded them out, and I'm hoping that they all got boarded out, but we no longer have any more critters anywhere. So that's a blessing, and I'm grateful. But I had to do something that I was uncomfortable doing. I had to get out of my comfort zone. And earlier this week, I was hanging out with Ali, who is a member of this community, and we were handing out flyers for the Amazing You movie, which we're going to have Dr. Dragos, who is a producer and the scientist who's a star, one of the stars, along with Greg Braden in this movie. He's going to come here and do a movie screening. And so I really wanted a lot of people to come. And so Ali had this great idea that we hand out flyers in front of the Century Theater movies down in Redwood City, right? We stand out there. It's a movie screening, so why not hand these out? Now, I love being up here talking to all of you who I love and adore, and I know you will love and adore me, and I love and adore you, and that's just this amazing thing that we call the Center for Spiritual Living, right? But it's not like that whenever I'm in front of a movie theater and people don't know me, and, you know, and I'm awkward and uncomfortable, and I can't speak very well to people, and I know it's weird, but it's, you know, it's a flyer, and it's out of my comfort zone. But I did it. I did. We handed out 50 flyers to amazing passersby, and I knew it was something I had to do because it was something that made me uncomfortable. And I ask you to think about, what are those edges that are right at your comfort zone? What are the things that you know you want to do, or you know you feel like you should be doing, but you don't really want to do because it's uncomfortable? Now, I don't know about you. I'm sure you're walking amazingly well right now. And when you were a little tiny child, it probably wasn't so comfortable to walk. And yet you had to do it over and over and over again, and fall down over and over and over again. And I think it might have been so traumatic for all of us that we don't remember it, just because we're like, oh my gosh, that was so much change and difficulty that I'm just going to block that out from my memories. But really, we need to be like that toddler in our lives. We need to be the person who steps into that uncomfortable space, the person who's willing to do the thing at whatever age that you have always wanted to do. I started taking singing lessons recently, which is so uncomfortable for me as well. I will admit, actually, what's going on in the singing lessons is I'm crying at every lesson instead of singing at every lesson. Because I was a little kid and I bought this story that I couldn't sing. And it wasn't, trust me, it wasn't my mom or my dad who gave me that story. It was a choir director that told me I was off key. And I decided, my choice, not their choice, I decided that meant, you're a terrible singer, you can never sing again, in my little child head. And so I took that on. And I'm working through it. I'm working through this fear that I have. And it's difficult. And for the women out there, if you go to Sister Spirit next year, I just say that I'm going to have a performance. Yeah. So I'm stepping into those areas because I know that I need to be the change that I wish to see in the world. And that means I need to do that thing that is uncomfortable and difficult and challenging. I need to be that person that is the bridge for everybody else. But I can't be the only one that's the bridge. We have to be a community, a bridging community. We have to be the people that look at what's going on in the outside world and stepping into a new expression of what we want to see in the outside world. I've been reading this book. It's a great book. When Everything Changes, Change Everything. Change everything when everything changes. And Neil Donald Walsh talks about how there's 3 things that people tend to have experiences and changes in: relationship, money, and health. And you may be going through one of those changes as I speak right now. You may be having that kind of change, or maybe all 3 of those right now. And I want to tell you that all change is disruptive, even change for the better. And yet, change is often seen as the end when really it's the beginning, right? The change of the caterpillar is the beginning of the butterfly. And yet, as humans, we have a tendency to not want it to happen. Why is that? Why is that? We fear the unknown, right? We don't know what it's going to be like or feel like, and so we're afraid of it. I know there's a saying, and I don't exactly know who said it or if it's actually in the Bible or anything, but it's like, known hells are safer than unknown heavens, right? So you're holding on to that thing that's uncomfortable, and you know you have to change it, but you know it. I mean, it's familiar. That space of unhappiness is familiar. And now you could have happiness, but what if you didn't? But what if you did? And that's the question. Neale Donald Walsch says that peace is the nature of life. And I agree with this. There is an ultimate reality that is the nature of life. I'm going to say it's peace. I'm going to say it's love. It's harmony. Now, this is the ultimate reality of life. This is what the infinite is made of. So if peace is what you're searching for in this moment of change and turmoil, peace is what you yearn. You'll want to journey from what Neale Donald Walsch calls the imagined truth to the apparent truth to the actual truth, which is peace. And you'll have to shift your basis from distorted reality to observed reality to the ultimate reality. Because everything is existing at 3 levels at the same time. It's existing in your head, right? It's existing in your observation. And then there's the actual thing, the ultimate version of reality. Now, typically when we're in our head or when we're in the observation of what's going on, that's the place we find disharmony. That's where we might see the distorted reality from our perspective. That's me singing perspective of a little girl, right? So I'm trying to sing, and all I can see is myself not being enough. All I can see is that, and so I'm crying through this idea that I'm not enough. Is that the reality? No. Every single person on this planet was given creative aspects. Every person was given, well, most people are given a voice, right? Most people are given a voice. Most people can use their hands, right? Now, it's what we do with that and how we feel about how we're coming at the world and what we do with that makes a difference in life. So I know that I need to get out of my head, because I'll have my my choir teacher, who's also a minister, so she'll call me on my stuff, which sucks. I just want you to know that. Somebody said to me one time, well, that's what you do to me. And I'm like, I know, but it's uncomfortable. So I'll be here and we're singing along, and then all of a sudden that voice in my head starts saying, starts talking, and she says, what's that? And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even say anything out loud. Like instantly she's on me. She's, oh, what were you thinking? Oh, whew. Because what was going on was in my head. It wasn't what was really happening. It wasn't even what I was observing. It was just where I was going in my head. So Neale Donald Walsch talks about the fact that events are created by circumstances and conditions outside of you, but reality is created by conditions and occurrences inside of you, in your mind. So events are turned into data, which are turned into truths, which are turned into thoughts, which are turned into emotions, which is how you experience the world, which forms your reality. So notice that emotion comes before the experience and then produces it. And also notice that thought becomes before the emotion and births it. And that's why we invite you to come to centers like this, where we say, change your thoughts, change your mind, change your world, right? Change your thinking, change your reality. It might not be that hard, but it might not be that easy either. I'm going to say it's simple. It's simple. If I ask somebody to, here, Vanessa, hold this book and stand up. Now, try and drop the book, but don't actually drop the book. Just try. Okay. Yeah, now try, but don't actually, just try. Okay, now drop the book. Thank you. Well done, Vanessa. Well done. Well done. To change your mind is that easy. You choose to change it. Now you can try to change. Oh, I'm going to try and change my mind. No, you just choose to change it. There's no try. It's like being partially pregnant. I'm kind of pregnant. Well, what does that mean? I don't know. You do or you don't. So you have the opportunity to step into that beingness, into that doingness, into that aliveness. There's a story about a psychology professor, and he holds a glass of water, and in the glass of water, it's half full, right? And he thinks, the students think, are we going to have this half full, half empty discussion? But really, he's holding it up. And he says, everybody see this glass of water? And they say yes. And he says, well, how many ounces of water is in it? And people say, 8, 4, 2, a gallon, And he said, it doesn't really matter what's in it. What matters is how long I'm holding on to it. Because I can hold this glass of water for like a minute and it's okay. But then once I get to an hour, things start to hurt. And then once it's like 2 hours, I'm starting to wane and fade and everything. And it's not what is in it, it's how long we hold on to it. And so you may be holding on to things from your past, some ideas that are no longer serving you, and they're weighing you down because you're holding on to it. You're not embracing the change. You're not stepping into the flow of what life is, being in that next way of being, cruising on that wave. You're holding on to, oh, so-and-so said this to me last night, or that person cut me off. Or, have you ever had that? Like, the person cuts you off, you get pissed off, okay, you're pissed off in the moment, and then you get to work and you're still pissed off because you're still holding on to it. Why? Is it serving you? How's that working for you? Do you want to be mad all your life? No, I don't. I want peace. I'm a fan of peace, right here. I'm a fan of peace. So I encourage you not to allow the weight of yesterday's stress, of last night's emotions, of 10 years ago abuse, to indicate where you are and what's happening in your life. I encourage you to work on something we call forgiveness. And forgiveness is letting go. And it's not letting go for the other person, it's letting go for yourself. And I encourage you to work on a space of stepping into that place of letting go so you can be a fuller, freer, more expansive expression that you want to be in your life. And I also encourage you to look at what it is you do want. Because you can't change what you are or who you are until you decide what you want and where you're going. Otherwise, you're going to be going along with the direction of the most common denominator of people in this world. And if you've turned on the news, then I can tell you that's the common denominator of what's going on in our reality. It's not the majority, it's the common denominator. So there's a lot going on way above, and there's a lot going on way below, but the common denominator is what you're going to see in the news. Now, if that's the world that you want to be experiencing in your life, then I encourage you not to change. I encourage you to hold on to those resentments, and I also encourage you to not dream about what you want in your life. Thank you. It does. And so many of us get trapped in that reality when there's so much more. So I want you to wake up to that idea that you have something greater inside of you. It's peace. It's harmony. It's love. And you can use this power, this force in the universe to create a reality that is a world of love, a place of freedom, a place where everybody shares their resources, where borders are irrelevant. This is a place where we stand in a renewed world, where we continue to support and share and uplift each other instead of tear each other down. And if that's the kind of world that you want to live in, because that's the kind of world I want to live in, then I encourage you to start being the change you want to see in the world. And you might have a little fear. There's one last story I have. It's about a shark. there's a researcher that wanted to do this really cool experiment. And so they put this shark in a tank, and the shark was a really happy shark, doing what sharks do, which is really awesome. They look cool, they swim around, and he threw in some little fish. Lo and behold, the shark went after the little fish, because that's what sharks do. They like to eat little fish. So then the researcher decides, what would happen if I put a clear plexiglass right in between this tank? So the shark's over here, and then I'm going to throw in the little fish on the other side of the tank. And immediately the shark went right into the wall and slammed into it. And it kept doing that over and over and over and over and over and over until it finally was like, this is not working for me. Not working for me. And then it just decided to not do that again. But then the researcher took the plexiglass out, put new fish in. Shark didn't try and go over there, because it perceived there was a limitation there that used to be there, but it's not there anymore. But it thought that that was the truth. That was its reality. And we do that a lot. Somebody told you can't do that. Somebody said you don't know how. Somebody said this other thing to you. And maybe at the time, maybe you did fall over. And maybe you got up and you went in a different direction. But I encourage you to look at your limitations, to find out those areas where you think it's not possible. It's not possible for me to own a house in this crazy economy. Oh, it's not possible for me to do this. It's not possible for us to tear those walls down and double our congregation, because where's the money going to come from? I don't know, but I don't care, because this is the adventure of life. This is what I signed up for. The drama of curiosity. That's fun. That's the kind of life I want to be living in. So I encourage you to step into your own life. I encourage you to step into this community. I encourage you to step in a way that you never have before, in a way that is that dream. I want you to start dreaming about what your dream is. Dream about your dream of community. Dream about your dream of what the best and most ideal life can be, because that's going to give the energetic of life a direction in order to support you in living that best life. But it's not going to do it if you don't give it any direction on where you want to go. So I put that out to you. Be the change that you want to see in the world. Live your dream. Create your dream. And play with me here together. Are you in? All right, let's do it. And so it is. I'm going to just pray. Connecting to that divine inspiration, that holy force of all, that powerful thing that penetrates every single cell of my body. It is here, evolving me into that freer, fuller, more magnificent self. As I step into that idea of what I dream, the idea that anything is possible, turning the impossible to I'm possible, turning the ideas that I thought were my limitations into my greatest creations. I step into that fullness of beingness. I step into that aliveness. I step into that freedom, knowing that I am here to play full out. I am here to dance. I am here to sing the songs, to smell the roses, and to create a community that is a part of something that's never been created before. And I know it is vibrant, and I know it is alive, and I know it is better than I can even imagine. And I claim that as I stand here and I speak this truth, that each and every person here is a part of that emergence, a part of that transformation, a color of the butterfly. I'm so grateful to be a part of this flight, of this leap, jumping into this new level of beingness, knowing that it is fun. I am so grateful to be a part of this. And I know and claim that the Infinite One is the one that is catapulting me, supporting me, providing the wind, providing the air, providing the sustenance, providing the creativity and the passion and the joy in my life. So I tap into that. Something is calling me a little deeper. And I welcome it. And I surrender to it. And I allow it to take me with that flow. And so I let go, and I let God, and I let it be, knowing it is good and very good. Thank you, Infinite One. Thank you, O holy expression of all. Thank you, lover of my soul and my heart and my being. Thank you, great Creator. I am grateful for the inside and the outside reflection of this truth, knowing it is sacred and holy, that I am on holy ground. Everybody is on holy ground. Thank you. And so I let this go and let it be, knowing it is good, and so it is.